Namhlanje usuku lokuthi ngizolungisa icala lami. Ngihamba noBampisi noMphemba. Bengicelile ukuthi ngicela bangikhaphe kule ndlela silungisa icala leli siliqede. Base sidlulela okunye.
Besokhethile la embuzini.
Ngingasho kona ukuthi ke ngikhethile kodwa fanele phela mase ngikhuluma iqiniso nje hayi baba. Ungafika na ubone ukuthi hayi engathi ushaya iceleni mfana wami.
Uzizwa kanjani?
Empeleni baba lesinqumo ngingathi kuyintokozo ukuyenza lento ngoba manje angifuni lana ekugcineni sengumuntu okuthiwa kanaqiniso. Nanokuthi phela ke ngoba ngiyalazi icala phela ukuthi ngashaya into.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a deeply sensitive, complex and sometimes controversial subject, damages for virginity. You might be wondering, damages? Virginity? What does that even mean? Here is the story. Umpumelelo, a man is being asked to pay damages to his ex-girlfriend. I don't know if I should mention a name. Yeah. I'll mention a name. Her name is Nompumelelo. Wow. These guys were like soulmates, right? I mean the names Pumelelo and Nompumelelo, yeah. So Umpumelelo is being asked to pay damages for his ex-girlfriend for having lost her virginity to him. Yes, she claims that he owes her compensation because her virginity was taken. This story might sound strange or shocking, but it's grounded in very real cultural practices, beliefs and legal debates in South Africa. So during this time or during this episode, we'll unpack the detail of the story, exploiting the cultural significance of virginity, how and why such claims arise, what the law says, and what this all means for South Africa's society today. Before we start, please remember this is a complex topic involving deeply personal experiences and cultural sensitivities. We ask everyone to engage respectfully and with an open mind. All right, let's begin by understanding the people and the story behind this claim. So Umpumelelo and Nompumelelo, these names have come from real life inspired stories many South Africans face, particularly the popular culture and the TV series Izingane Zesithembu. Unompumelelo claims that she lost her virginity with Umpumelelo. He had either promised to marry her or acted in a way that suggested he would. She now claims that losing her virginity without a commitment harmed her social standing, her father's honor, and her future marriage prospects. Because of this, she is asking Umpumelelo to pay damages, money to compensate for this harm. This claim brings up important questions. Can you sue anyone for your lost virginity? Is it legal? What cultural beliefs support this claim? And what are the human rights and ethical implications? In many South African communities, virginity is more than a personal issue. It's a social value tied to honor, family, and marriage. Let's understand why. Virginity has long been an important concept in many African cultures, including here in South Africa. It is often a symbol of purity, dignity, and respect. This is not just about individual, but about the family's honor and community standing. In some communities, virginity testing was and still is practiced. For example, among the Zulu people, young women are sometimes subjected to virginity testing, where elderly women examine their hymen to check whether their hymen is intact. This practice is controversial and debated, but it's tied to social expectations and rites of passage. One of the most famous events is the Umkhosi Womhlanga, or the Reed Dance, a traditional ceremony where young women take part, often undergoing virginity inspection. This is seen as a celebration of purity and a way to promote respect for women who have maintained their virginity. So guys, the question is, why is virginity so important? In traditional marriage negotiations, bride price, called lobola, is paid by the groom to the bride's family. Virginity before marriage can increase a woman's value in this exchange, while the loss of virginity outside marriage can reduce it. So, loss of virginity before marriage also can lead to stigma, shame, and difficulties in finding a husband. But I'm not sure. I think in the olden days or back in the villages, this is still the case that if you're not a virgin, it's hard to get a husband. But now in the modern society, like in the urban areas, I don't think that works, guys. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Especially those who grew up and stay in the urban areas. What's your take on this virginity thing? Do you think it still applies? Do men still want women who are still virgins? Let me know in the comment sections. I really enjoy your comments and your discussions, your engagement. I like it because it teaches me a lot of things that I don't know myself. So let's continue. So now, this is why losing virginity can be viewed as damaging, not just personally, but socially and economically. Yes, economically, because I feel like even if you get married, let's say if you're not a virgin, your parents get less money because a virgin girl is valuable culturally than a person who's not a virgin. So economically, your family is crushed or damaged. Wow, I cannot believe that I'm saying that. So now let's talk about the law. Can someone sue for damages simply because they lost their virginity? That's the question. So in South Africa, the answer is complicated. There is no specific law that allows you to claim damages for virginity. However, in the past and in some legal systems, there were claims for breach of promise to marry or seduction, where a man promised marriage, then withdrew, causing social or financial harm to a woman. Today, South African courts are unlikely to recognize a pure virginity damages claim for several reasons. The first one being that virginity itself is not scientifically verifiable. The state of the harm does not reliably prove sexual activity. The Constitutional Court of South Africa protects dignity, privacy, and equality, meaning such claims can be seen as discriminatory and violating women's rights. Courts are hesitant to enforce claims that involve intimate personal choices or reinforce harmful gender stereotypes. Moreover, virginity testing for girls under 16 is banned under South African law, reflecting shift towards protecting children and respecting bodily harm. But I don't know about this last point because in the Zulu culture, children are tested, I think, at a young age, maybe from 10 years, hey? Until they come of age, they're tested. So this thing of virginity testing being banned, no. I don't know. It's just some research that I did, but no, I don't think it's really banned because Zulu people are still practicing it. So, while a claim like Nompumelelos may rise from cultural values, legally it faces many hurdles. Why do we communicate and uphold these beliefs? That's a question that someone would ask. And then why would they support a claim like this? So the first one, to support this thing of virginity being valuable and protecting it, is for social control and gender roles, because virginity is often linked to control over female sexuality, reinforcing traditional gender norms and patriarchal, oh guys, the English, patriarchal power structures. And also virginity is symbolic of moral virtue, family honor, social responsibility, social respectability. Loss of virginity outside marriage is seen as breach of these values. And also marriage remains as important for social and economic stability. I mean, virginity impacts marriage prospects and bride price. So loss of virginity can lead to financial implications. That's very true. And also, all this is for cultural continuity, because for some, preserving virginity related practices is about preserving cultural identity and tradition in a rapidly changing world. So understanding these concepts helps explain why such claims are made and why they can carry a serious social weight, even if the law does not fully back them. But I mean, virginity is still important based on the points that I just said before. So, in as much as we are for ladies or girls keeping their virginity, however, many activists, legal experts, and women rights groups strongly criticize these practices and claims because they view it as scientifically unreliable. They say that virginity is not medically measurable. The hymen can be intact or broken for many reasons unrelated to sexual activity. And also, they are talking about the violation of dignity and privacy because virginity testing and legal claims invade deeply personal, intimate areas, harming a woman's dignity. And also, the activists are saying because this causes gender discriminations, these practices target women exclusively, reinforcing unequal gender norms and patriarchal control, and also the stigma and trauma that comes with it, like publicly labeling women, shame, ostracism, causing emotional and psychological harm. It does, guys, it does, because I'm also a woman, and when I grew up, virginity was really valued. I'm not sure, but I think even in my society where I come from, they still value it in our community, because I remember they would say, no, if you sleep with a boy, they're going to call you a teen because you already be open. So it's like that shame, and it causes emotional and psychological harm, that, oh my god, I'm no longer a virgin. People think that you're no longer valuable, you're no longer complete, which for me is wrong. And also constitutional conflict. South Africa's constitution promotes equality and dignity, making such claims inconsistent with national values. So, many argue that culture should evolve to respect human rights and personal autonomy rather than reinforce harmful stereotypes. So, in recent years, some communities have begun to rethink these traditions. Younger generations are questioning the importance of virginity as a measure of worth. Virginity testing ceremonies are controversial, with activists pushing for their end or reform. Interviews with the women who underwent virginity testing reveal mixed feelings, pride for cultural identity, but also pain from the invasive nature of this test. Legal experts argue that courts should protect women's rights, rejecting any claims that promote discrimination or infringe on dignity. The riddance continues, but debates around it intensify, reflecting South Africa's revolving culture. So, what does this case tell us? It reveals a clash between tradition and modern rights, between community expectations and individual dignity. It asks tough questions like, should courts uphold cultural claims that harm personal rights? How do we respect culture while advancing equality? And then another question that might arise is that what is the future of these practices? So possible futures include legal rejection of virginity damage claims to protect rights, and community-led reform of traditions to respect autonomy, education, and activism to shift norms. So the Mpumelelo and non-Mpumelelo story is just one example of the ongoing negotiation between culture and rights in South Africa. Thank you for watching this deep dive into a very sensitive and complex topic. Culture is not static. It revolves or it evolves with society. The story of Mpumelelo and non-Mpumelelo challenges us to think about how traditions shape us and how they can protect dignity and equality. What do you think? Would you support such a claim? Why or why not? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. If you find this video insightful, please like, subscribe, and share with others to spark respectful conversations about culture, law, and gender in South Africa. Until next time, take care and stay curious. Bye.